Next pro, lots of lucid dreaming. So this shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of you that understand cholinergic pathways and how they essentially activate lucid dreaming or give you dreams that you vividly picture and remember. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics on Testosterone. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified of all future content. Please hit the like button. I've been seeing the difference in the algorithm and how we're kind of being pervaded out there on YouTube, so just click the like button. I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button. Yesterday I mentioned, but forgot to actually explain that, yeah, we ran out of the Cortex stack. So, and Cortex V1 is officially just like gone and done. V2 is coming out. Version 2 will be out somewhere in July, and it is a focus and flow stack that is going to be sick. Torque Nootropic stack is obviously still live at livecortex.com, and I got a coupon code for you guys. It is 25 Torque. All right, friends. So I ran an experiment recently. What do you know? Of high dosing aniracetam. Now, historically, my dose of aniracetam is between 300 and 600 milligrams. I rarely go above that. I'm usually medium dosing aniracetam in the morning with some eggs or maybe a low dose choline source. I very rarely these days just take it on its own with a choline source. I've just come to learn that for me, it works stacking it with other things in lower medium doses. So, you know, in the interest of experimentation, and also like I had a good bit of heavy brain output work to get done, I ran a couple cycles of 3 days in a row of 1.5 grams of aniracetam over the course of the last 3 weeks, and I want to report on basically the pros and cons, how it ended up working out, and what happened. My official dose was 1,500 milligrams aniracetam. I worked the choline dose, and I'll get to that as sort of a con to 175 milligrams. I was dosing city choline, and again, I'll explain that here in a second. Let's talk about the pros. First pro, I felt like I had basically endless work capacity. You know, like there wasn't a moment throughout the day where I was like, yeah, I'm cognitively fatigued, right? Where I'd rather just chill and sit down and kind of recuperate. I just could work forever, right? No matter what it was, whether it was scientific research or it was administrative work for Cortex Labs, it just was a lot easier for me to persistently work. I like that. That's actually one of my hugest qualms, like my biggest qualms with the human condition, is that I can't just sit down without the help of modulating neurotransmitters and having high testosterone levels and work for fucking 12 hours straight. I would love to just be able to do that at baseline. So with aniracetam, it kind of superficially manufactured that capacity to have a lot of endurance cognitively to work through things for long periods of time. Second pro, which is kind of a pro and kind of a con, was I had a lot of nervous energy. I'll speak about it in the context of it being a pro, and then we'll discuss it in the context of being a con. Yeah, it just meant that, again, there weren't periods where it almost necessitated me to constantly be productive. I just had to be productive consistently. Like there was this energy that if I stood still and didn't put my brain toward anything, like my brain was just working anyway, right? So it kind of got uncomfortable when I was like, all right, I'm just going to do as much productivity work as possible. Number 3 pro was my memory was bulletproof. Like on content, sometimes I jot down notes. Most times I jot down notes of what I'm going to talk about, kind of like a line item list of what I'm going to talk about, then expand upon those things from there. If there's scientific literature that has to be referenced, that's all jotted in the kind of note taking. But during those times, some of the content over the course of the last 3 weeks, I didn't need to jot anything down. Like I had a topic, I was easily referencing all of the information I had built up over the years with scientific literature, working with clients and experimentation on myself. It was just easier to serve everything that I needed up to my brain to do content. The other really interesting pro regarding memory was like no lists anywhere. I'm a list guy. I like to write shit down and kind of have it on paper, especially like the grocery store. Didn't need it, right? It's like I could literally picture my fridge and my cabinet and know what I needed or didn't need. Next pro, scientific research was 1,000 times more fun. Now, it's already fun for me to do scientific research. I'm the type of guy that, like, when my peers are playing fucking Warzone or hanging out at the bar, I'm doing scientific research. It's just what I like to do. But I swear, it was just a lot. It's just a lot more fun when you're computing in a way which allows you to absorb large quantity of information in a way which is permanent, right? Semi-permanent, or you can reference it 2 months later, like you're just encoding it via the hippocampus into memory. it's a much more fun experience. And I would argue, like, people that may think they're lazy or like don't want to engage in any kind of heavy learning or cerebral work, if your brain worked very well in that capacity, and we're talking about choline release in the hippocampus, it's one of the main mechanisms of aniracetam, you'd probably want to do it more. So scientific literature and scientific research was much more fun to comb through. Next pro, gym sessions were a lot more fun. Now, I love going to the gym. I'm up 5:30 every day. I'm at the gym at 6 or something, 7 days a week, right? And I absolutely love it. I look forward to it. I wake up in the morning and I'm excited to just go to the gym. But aniracetam in the mix, which on a couple of these days I was actually dosing in the morning before my gym session, it just made for a more kind of integrated workout. Like, I was way more kind of intuitively paying attention to extra reps, sets, like I'm like moving from machine to machine. Like the entirety of the workout had more structure to it, right? And almost, it's like I had more of a purpose and an intention. And I even was like paying attention to like the resistance on my muscles as I was like doing incline press as an example. Next pro, lots of lucid dreaming. So this shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of you that understand cholinergic pathways and how they essentially activate lucid dreaming or give you dreams that you vividly picture and remember. That's just the bottom line. There's another nootropic called huperzine A, which is commonly used for this. I mean, aside from it improving brain performance, if you take a cholinergic, especially huperzine A, you're probably going to remember your dreams more. You'll have these markedly vivid dreams where you're picturing everything and then you wake up the next day, and instead of vanishing in the morning within mere seconds, you kind of hold on to it, right? And you remember the dream throughout the day. So I had wickedly vivid dreams on high doses of aniracetam. Last pro was I was a better gamer, okay? I like to play Warzone 2 and Battlefield. When am I playing? Battlefield 2024, right? Which is an okay game. Like they both could be much better, but fine. I had a much better time though. I was way more interested. All right, let's talk about the cons. The cons, because it didn't come without problems. It wasn't just like scot-free, man. Number one, the nervous energy made it, as I alluded to before, sometimes harder to relax, right? It was just like relaxing to me if I wanted to relax, which maybe you may physically feel like you want to relax, but your brain is still functioning very well. Kind of impossible, right? It was just harder for me to sit down and do nothing. And I like to do nothing sometimes. Second, con, which I think I could eventually get over if I was doing it consistently, which I wouldn't do anyways. I don't think there's a point to that, was my sleep was disrupted for the first 2 days of each of the cycles, and then that went away on the third day. So I took it 3 days in a row, but for the first 2 nights, my sleep was disrupted, right? I fell asleep fine, but I'd wake up in the middle of the night thinking. My brain was just very active, you know, throughout the duration of it, and especially at the wrong time when I was trying to sleep. Next con was I had to dose far more choline than I usually like. You know, I'm usually dosing between 40 and 100 milligrams of either citicholine or alpha GPC, typically just citicholine, and I had to dose a lot more. I went up to 250 at one point. Now, citicholine has a pretty long half-life. It's anywhere between 48 and 72 hours. It really depends on how you're metabolizing it, and the absorption is absolute. It's like 98.5 or something, right? So with citicholine, you kind of don't have to be dosing it every day in order to have a great effect, right? Unless it's in low doses. That's the only time citicholine makes sense to be dosing every day, 40 to 75 milligrams. Ended up at a sweet spot of 175, which works. Like, again, it's just a little tricky because the next day you still have citicholine active in the system. The next day it hasn't even half left out yet. So that was a little tricky. If I were to run this protocol again, I would run it every other day, right? Instead of 3 days in a row of aniracetam, 1.5 grams, I'd run it every other day. That would give much more kind of a synergistic dynamic with the acetylcholine concentrations and the half-life of CDP choline. Last con, my mind had a harder time shutting down at night. So when I was completely finished, right? It's like, so for some semblance of a good regimen and good sleep, and still like waking up at 5:30 and hitting the gym like I like to do, like I need to go to sleep by a certain time. And at nighttime, it's usually I have zero problem sleeping, right? Easier to shut my brain down. With aniracetam in the mix at 1.5 grams on those days, way harder, right? Like I had to turn on some female guided meditations and kind of just like chill and actually force my brain to slow down consciously. So that I would call that a con. What does this point to, right? So like, look at this, right? There are many pros, and you're going to get better brain performance if the dose is right and if the cofactors are correct and if you're doing everything correctly and if your kind of baseline is in a great place, right? You're going to get brain performance benefits with nootropics. But if you want like these very powerfully, very noticeable, like again, I could read a 20-page, you know, hardcore research paper, the type that you have to be like logged into the websites and be a member of some of these scientific journals to get the entire paper, I could do that. No problems, no questions asked, and absorb pretty much all of the information. But I had a harder time, you know, quieting my brain down at nighttime. And, you know, my sleep was disrupted for the first 2 days of the 3-day cycle each time. I think what this highlights and brings into the forefront is that, yeah, there's a trade-off, right? With a certain degree of performance, it's a trade-off. Can't tell you how many guys are in the comment section like, hey, you know, I took whatever set of nootropics and I was performing awesomely, but my sleep was a little disrupted, or I was a little anxious the next day, or this and that. Yeah. If you go past a certain range, and what comes with the most powerful brain performance, there's always going to be some sort of, how did Vigorous Steve say it? You're going to punch the clock somewhere else. Like, no biological free lunch, my friends. It's just the bottom line. There's going to be trade-offs with high-level brain performance induced by nootropics. As I was talking about with TRT, going up to 180 milligrams, I'm certainly a hell of a lot more anabolic and can build muscle very easily and generally physically feel great. But again, harder to control the estrogen, harder to control the metabolites. So again, you know, shooting for high-level superficial manufactured performance is usually going to come with sides or at least unwanted kind of effects at some level, and that's the trade-off you're going to have to be okay with. All right, I hope that's been useful. As I said, look, the Torque stack right now is on discount. The coupon code is 25TORQUE. I mean, look, if you want an exceptionally powerful nootropic stack that you can take that'll turn on brain energy almost instantly. I mean, guys, some guys get an onset within 15 minutes. Most people get an onset within 25 minutes, but the effects are substantially pronounced. You're going to notice torque right away after dosing. And go check out the reviews on livecortex.com. See what some of our people here on the channel have to say about it, as well as some of the featured reviews. And go get yourself a bottle right now. Discount code is 25TORQUE. Let me find that image. There she goes. That'll save 25%. That'll knock 25% right off of the cost and take it down substantially. No better time to go buy a bottle of Torque, my friends. As I mentioned before, we are officially out of the Cortex stack, okay? And that is because V2 is coming. The next version of Cortex is coming. It's going to be better. It's going to onset quicker. It's going to be stronger. It is going to last longer. It's not only stimulation and mental energy and kind of dopamine energy, but it's also flow. So those of you that were auto ship Cortex, we couldn't actually send an email out to everybody, but we tried our best to let everybody know. We put all the subscriptions on pending. You know, if you want to resubscribe to Cortex when it launches, you're more than, you know, welcome to do so. And I think you're probably going to love the stack. If you need to hire me, look, the most popular service so far, by far, you know, over the course of the last few months has been these email consults. Get on an email with me. Send me all your labs, send me your issues. I'll send you targeted protocols back. You can do that at livecortex.com. Cheaper, and you don't have to get on a call. If you do need to get on a call options are there. Larger programs are there. You can find all the stuff that I'm associated with and affiliated with in the description of this video. All right, friends, it has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Thank you for listening to me ramble about aniracetam. Please like the video, subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. I'd love for you guys to hit the bell, but I would really, really appreciate it if you hit the like button. I would really appreciate it, bro. Hit the like button, bro. Till the next one.